Good day, everyone. How's it going? You may notice that my voice is a little bit lower than normal because that's what COVID did to me. I assume it will return to its regular pitch, but if you watched the recent video and saw the end of it, you will have seen at the end it was significantly lower back then, so it's not quite returned to the regular pitch yet. But on the plus side, I am fine now. Albeit bitter at the fact that I got COVID in the first place. My wife was genuinely shocked when she woke up that morning and heard my voice. I just hope that it hasn't affected my singing range. But yes, hello, who we got here? Val Erie. Nice to have you here, so excited. Good to know, good to hear. Pokrach, hello again, how's it going? You've been channelized. And now my revenge dress is ready, if you want to call it that. I have this polo shirt on, which I haven't worn in a while. Nice little zipper at the front that's jammed. There we go. I got this from the UK last time I visited. Last time I went to the UK, I picked up quite a few items of clothing because clothing in Europe is way better than what it is in America. And cheaper, way cheaper. Cheaper and better quality. Sam, my dear moderator, hello, how's it going? The process of going through every single one of my possessions, lots of sorting and throwing out. One of those things when you're going through your stuff is kind of like one thing that you dread, but then like once you start the process, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of nice, feels like cleansing, you know? Like getting all those things out of your life that you realize that you no longer need anymore. At least that's how I feel. It's the kind of thing, I'm the kind of person, and I think I've heard it's like an ADHD thing, that like, when it comes to actually starting something, it's a difficult thing to bring yourself to do, which, you know, is something I've worked on over the years to try and remedy. But once you get into it, you really get into it. And you super get into it if you take some Ritalin before you do it. Like, you give me Ritalin and send me into the bathroom to clean it, that's getting spotless. My dear wife, D. Salari, working in the other room, as per usual. How are you? Birdie, blep, right back at you. How's it going? Rowan, hello. Sloppy weather we're having. It has been a bit back and forth, yeah. Yeah. It's quite hot here today, I will say that. I'm looking forward to the fall months, where here in North Carolina, the temperature drops by like 2 degrees Celsius. We have some of like 8 months here, and I hate it. I like the cold. I like winters. Guess I'm just built different. Yeah, recently, like a few months back, I ended up reorganizing a closet, getting rid of a bunch of stuff that was in there. Felt like heaven. I love it now. We're planning on moving sometime next year, so I plan on doing that through the fall/winter. Yeah, sometimes it's good to do piece by piece, I think. But, you know, little improvements here and there. Also tried to get like more furniture recently, like inexpensive stuff like shelves and whatnot, just to like move books around and everything. Thing is, like, when you end up moving into a place, you do that thing where you just like put things in places without too much thought of it, but then like it ends up staying that way for the long term because you never return to it. Like that happened with a set of shelves that we have in the living room. We just put like things on there because it's like, well, it needs to go somewhere, and it stayed like that for a few years until recently. Annie made it. Nice to have you back. Hello to you as well. How's it going? Removing downsizing can be pretty satisfying. It is indeed. COVID can permanently damage one. It might be. I mean, it has been improving in pitch, albeit very slowly. And I do have sinus issues too. Like my sinuses get really constricted. It's a weird genetic thing, I think, because my mother has it too. And I get like a lot of dryness in my throat and nose. Never been checked to see if I have Schrögens, because, you know, my wife has that, and Birdie, I know you've got that too. But, yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, the voice, but we'll see. My man with a sexy voice. Well, thank you, Viking Bear. How are you doing? Happy to hear you're doing great. You look much more relaxed. Yeah, you know, taking that time off and everything has helped. I mean, usually, like, I take time off after I released a video, and just as I got sick was when I ended up releasing that video, which, you know, like I said, you could hear it at the end of the outro and everything. So I like to take a bit of time off. I know a lot of YouTubers like to jump immediately into the next project, and more power to them if they can do something like that. Though me, though, I need the space. Like, if there's one important lesson I've learned throughout life, it's that you shouldn't make life your work. You know, some people find satisfaction in that. I'm not judging it, but for me, it's like always maintain some space between you and work. Because, you know, especially when you're young, if you do stuff like that, that's kind of like one of the perils of grind culture, really, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. Where, you know, you get people in the 20s that think, like, you know, they got to work and never stop. Because, you know, they got to, like, prepare for the future and everything. And then next thing you know, your 20s are gone. And, you know, what can you say that you did? I worked. What can you say that you got from it? Slightly more money. So, yeah, even back when I was, like, in regular jobs and everything, if I ever got a call to come in on a day off or something like that, I was like, no, like, it's my day off. My day off stays my day off. You know, as much as it would be nice to have a bit of extra money, I'll survive without that extra money. You know, I'm not a wealthy person by any means. I was never a wealthy person when working in these jobs. But, yeah, I was like, that's my time off. You don't take that from me. Starting tasks with ADHD is a pain. It is indeed, yeah. I even get it with my work stuff, you know, like, you know, if I gotta start editing a video, I just think of, like, getting into it. But unfortunately, my ADHD doesn't aid me with the focus on the video, because I keep thinking I'd rather be doing anything else right now. Yeah, I truly hate editing. I used to really like it, but good God, it gets repetitive. I gotta clean my room. Well, best of luck with that. How bad is it? Hello, I'm glad to see you're doing better. Congratulations. Well, thank you. Yeah, it was, my COVID experience was weird, because, like, the first, like, few days, first, I only had it for, like, 2 or 3 days, or at least I only had symptoms for 2 or 3 days. Like, first day I felt terrible, fever, very sore throat, horrible sinuses. Yeah, I felt not great. It was kind of close to being a flu, but not as bad. But then, like, within that after that short amount of time, like, I was practically perfectly fine. Like, I was just, okay, I'm normal now. But I was, you know, still carrying the virus. So my wife tested negative, I think, after 5 days, maybe 7. So I passed that window eventually. You know, like I said, I was feeling fine, but, you know, obviously I was still within the window. But 5 days passed, I took a test, still positive. Went to the 7-day mark, still positive. 9 days, still positive. And bear in mind, I was completely fine. 10 days, still positive. I was like, what the hell is happening here? And it turns out that I am one of those rare cases where you can test positive for, like, weeks to come. So I ended up contacting a doctor about it, of, like, the messaging system that we have. And they said, like, so long as you've not had symptoms for 5 days since you were diagnosed, and you've passed the 10-day mark from your first positive test, you should be fine. You probably don't need to test yourself anymore, because you can have, like, what was referred to as, like, basically, like, junk virus inside you, and like, you know, basically like dead viruses inside of you, which still show up as positive on the tests. So yeah, it's not effective at that point. But yeah, it was a pain, so I'm just like, oh my god, how long do I have to put up with this for? So yeah, but like I said, I've been fine. My wife hasn't caught it again. I've not caught it again. Fingers crossed it won't happen again. But yeah, if you're going out there, mask up, because it's pretty bad right now. It's on the rise. I like the cold too. It's supposed to be really warm September here, and I'm grumpy about it. I mean, yeah, it's always a warm. It can be like Halloween here and be like 31, 32 degrees Celsius. I'm glad I'm not a child doing trick or treat here, because, you know, can you imagine like being in your costume just sweating like crazy? Getting those melted Snickers bars. Did you get skin? Skin? Like a skin issue or something like that? I like any season's weather, but I guess the least is ice cold winter with no snow. Yeah, that's the thing. I gotta have snow. But here in North Carolina, in Charlotte, we haven't had snow for 2 years, and I'm very bitter about that, because it is my favorite. I have lupus technically. Yeah, I remember you saying, yeah. You have a rough time, buddy. In April 2020, our family moved, and in April 2024, we finally sorted some of my toys. I had a whole idea of making YouTube videos with them. I mean, those toy channels do ridiculously well, so give it a shot. Sjogren's has overlapping symptoms, and it was one of my initial diagnoses until my lung collapsed, and the doctor was like, oops. Yeah, I heard that lung collapsing was somewhat common for people in their 20s and 30s or early 30s. Like, I remember I learned about it when the drummer from Block Party, when they were performing live, his lung just collapsed, and, you know, he like was out for the count. You can't drum with a collapsed lung. You can't do much of anything with a collapsed lung. But yeah, it turned out it's just like, yep, that happens with some people, especially like taller people. Kind of weird. Kind of like brain aneurysms. Like, brain aneurysms are terrifying. Like, just the thought that, like, just there we go, like your brain just decides to bust a vessel. Like, God, like you can just die randomly. It's morbid. I'm definitely afraid of going to work, because I've heard so many stories of I worked through my 20s and discovered skincare and interior decorating since I was 30. Yeah, it's, you know, I really hate that there's a lot of people in their 20s just like wasting it on work. I mean, work by all means, but don't make work your life. It ain't worth it. It's not the way it's worse my room has looked. Okay, that's not too bad then. Best part about moving to a new place is there's a blank canvas and you get new colors in your life. That's true, yeah, you get to work with it. You know, my wife and I would still like a house at some point, but the market is terrible. Apparently it's improving, but good God, is it exhausting trying to buy a house. Even in the UK, it's terrible. It's, yeah, like even just like if you consider like all the paperwork and everything that goes into it, it's like they actively don't want you to buy a house. But yeah, it's so over the top now, and it makes me resent older generations even more. It's just like, you know, what was it like in the 80s? Just go to a realtor or estate agent and just go, hello, I'd like to buy this 4-bedroom house. Sure thing, sir. That'll just be $35,000. How would you like to pay? With this money I have somehow from working a part-time job. Excellent, I'll take that. Here are the keys. Enjoy living in a house. Oh, sign this one sheet of paper just to confirm it. And now it's just like so many different aspects to it. It's just feels entirely unnecessary. Did you get to play any interesting games during your recovery or watch any movies? I meant to watch movies, but I never got around to it. Game-wise, it's a bit of a niche game. But I played Odin's Sphere, which is by Vanillaware, who made most recently Unicorn something, but they also made 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, which is, they make these beautiful hand-painted graphics for their games, and they look incredible. But they're always like, they've always been one of those developers that's sort of flown under the radar for making these amazing games that barely anyone plays, so they make the games on like a shoestring budget. But yeah, I haven't finished it, but really nice game, I quite liked it. I also played a bit more of the first Descendants. I was in the beta for that, and I tried it out a bit, and it's alright. I used to really like Warframe, so I figured I'd give it a try since it's quite similar. But my god, is it grindy. Like, yeah. And I continue playing Final Fantasy XIV as well, decorating my house, getting some new gear and everything. Still been working on the house decoration stuff. I might show it a bit later. But yeah, I've gotten really into that. It's about time, because I'd had that house for over a year and I'd barely touched it. I tested positive for a month. That's the thing, like, it's been a while since I've tested, and I feel like if I did test now, I'd probably still be positive. I think overall I ended up going through like, I think I went through like 6, 7 tests or something like that. Need to get more. I have 1 test left now. When I caught COVID, I was asymptomatic but tested positive for 2 weeks. Yeah, that's gotta be... See, the thing, being asymptomatic is like a really frustrating scenario because, you know, you feel like you can live your life as normal, but obviously you can't. I can't say like I'm too bitter about it though, because luckily I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell, which, you know, quite a few people do. That would make the experience even more miserable. And, you know, it can affect your appetite and everything. So at least I didn't get that. That was the one thing I kind of dreaded happening if I ever caught it. But yeah, I mean, you know, I did feel like shit, but I don't need to feel worse by not being able to taste things. The tests rarely do false positives though. Yeah, I've heard that they're pretty reliable. I think it's like in the 90% accurate, something like that, possibly more. But yeah, they're perfectly reliable, those tests. And stupidly priced in the US. If you want to buy like a pack of 2 COVID tests in the US, can't get them for free. They're like $30, $35. Some even cost as much as like $100, which, who the hell is buying those? My... 2 free weeks off work. Yeah, you know, at least there's that. If you're asymptomatic, just stay at home, play some games, chill, you know. Luckily, most things you can get these days can be delivered directly to your house. Like, I had our groceries delivered to us. I think it was like $7 for it, but, you know, what are you going to do otherwise? And, you know, it was like directly to our door. I was like, this is nice, actually. It's kind of an aside, I just wish I had better at-home tests this long into the pandemic. Yeah, I think soon as well. Yeah, if you are living in the US, they are going to be resuming the free tests that you can get through USPS. I think it's coming next month. So, you know, even if you do have enough tests, you know, do get those free ones. You can never have enough, really. I wish I could get some of those reusable test kits, but they're all discontinued in Canada. I didn't know there was reusable ones. How do those work? I tried the lollipop test, which is like the long swab that you like affix this cardboard test to. It was pretty neat. It's not like a toy haul, but mostly nostalgia, and I was thinking more like sketches. Yeah, give it a go, you know, it's, you know, if any of you ever want to make a video, just go for it, have fun, don't be too worried about getting views or anything, just do some, make something because you want to make something, you know, experiment. I might be in and out because I'm editing an old time lapse. That reminds me, actually, my father-in-law, who is a painter, I've been helping him with a project to do time-lapse speed art painting of his work. So like I gave him my old camera, got him an overhead camera setup and everything, and said that I'd put something together for his socials and all that stuff. I'll probably post it on the Discord once I get it all sorted out, but you know, I think I've showed his work before, but the guy is a remarkably talented painter. Unfortunately, I can't share his details because I have to keep privacy in mind, but I'll show you some of his work. Yeah, here's some of his work. This is 100% watercolor, no touch-ups through any kind of like you know, what the fuck? This is like no touch-ups through Photoshop or anything like that. It's all, you know, straight up watercolor work. Very talented guy. He paints classic cars, like paintings of them, but he is especially talented when it comes to like chrome work and water as well, like droplets. Very, very, very painstaking work with the amount of details that he puts into it. But yeah, extremely talented guy, and he gets accused all the time of doing these things in Photoshop, which, you know, I can attest that that man does not know how to use Photoshop. So yeah, he can barely use, he still uses iPhoto for certain things. Yeah, he does not know how to use Photoshop for even the most basic things. But yeah, very talented fellow. Wonder if he's got accused of AI yet. It wouldn't surprise me if he had. Probably. I can't remember. I feel like he mentioned it to me recently, or at least like mentioned how like he was talking. How he mentioned how like it'll probably be an inevitable thing that someone will accuse him of using AI. Which, you know, understandably, being a working artist, he's also not a fan of. Like we needed more excuses to hate the boomers. Hey, you know, more is always better in many respects, and this is one of them. We're all perfectly warranted in hating boomers, especially when they're also a, you know, group of people that refuses to shoulder responsibility for a lot of the problems that we face today. You know, it's not great to be told like, hey, I can't buy a house because your generation kind of screwed up the market. Well, maybe if you stop buying expensive coffees and iPhones, you can buy a house. Like, yeah, my $3 coffee that I buy once or twice a week is really getting in the way of me buying a $500,000 3-bedroom house. Yeah, that's it. I don't even buy coffee, so like I make my hot drinks all the time. It's very rare that I buy a coffee. Aneurysm is indeed so terrifying. Yeah, brain aneurysms is like the hidden killer. It can just appear. I mean, you can survive them, but the recovery is pretty, you know, pretty substantial. I think my wife actually knew someone that had an aneurysm and survived, but they had to like relearn how to walk again and everything. I think they're fine now though. Here in the US, they're just super expensive, being COVID tests, but not being available at all is awful. Yeah, like I said, they are stupidly expensive, and they absolutely shouldn't be. It should just be a thing that you go to the pharmacy and like, yeah, I'll take one. God, I want nothing more than a moderately small 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. Us too, yeah. I mean, we don't need anything too big since it's just the two of us and 2 cats. You know, we're not greedy in that respect. But I mean, where we are right now, across the street from us, literally across the street from us, there's like 3-bedroom houses that are $500,000, and barely anyone has been moving into them, I think. So it's like, who is this for? And in Charlotte, the answer is really bankers and finance guys from up north, because like they buy these houses as like a second home for when they're traveling, which is bullshit. And of course you've got the pricks that end up getting like buying houses just so they can rent out or Airbnb it and everything. You know, it's bullshit. See, in some states they have made laws to help with that, like I think in Georgia, or it might just be Atlanta, they made a law which states that if you are going to rent out a property that you've purchased, or if you are to change it into an Airbnb, you have to have lived in it for at least a year. Which, you know, is good. It's not perfect, but it's good. So at least you have some kind of workaround for it. But it wouldn't be surprising to me if, like, you know, these people who bought this stuff would just like say, you know, probably just like let a friend live there for a year, or, you know, just maybe even paid someone to live in a house for a year, and then so, okay, well now I can put it on the market. I've been trying to buy a house for a year and a half and it's been a nightmare. It's so awkward organizing viewings with all the different agents and fitting it in around your life. And once you find somewhere you like, once you find somewhere you like, then you go through the legal process of buying and it's painful. I've had 2 separate sales fall through now, and one of those was the one. Oof. Yeah, it's rough. Like I said, it's so many hoops to jump through. Feels completely unnecessary, and you know, governments keep talking about making the buying process easier and making housing cheaper and everything. They don't give a fuck. Like, you know, they don't care who they sell it to, and there's all kinds of nonsensical excuses as well. Like, I remember when we were looking around at houses, you know, when we felt like we were ready to buy, we had a realtor who honestly I wasn't a big fan of, but like, whenever I talk about like the problems that exist within house buying today, it always just sort of like brush it off with some bullshit excuse. Like, we're talking about how expensive they were, and it's like, yeah, but there's like a lumber shortage right now. It's like, bullshit, there's a lumber shortage. Like, have you seen how many trees are out there and everything? Also, maybe use something different instead of lumber in that case. You know, like houses in Europe, like, a lot of them are just made out of brick. It's like, you won't see houses in the UK that are made out of wood paneling on the outside. But yeah, it's just like, what a load of shit. Like, stop making stuff up. Stop excusing the market. We bought our house in 2023 and it took us 3 months to get a loan approved. We signed a letter of intent in February and got the house keys at the end of May. So that's... you bought your house in 23, 3 months. So was that as soon... So would that be 3 months, February, March, April, May? So 6 months from the approval to... or applying for the loan to actually getting the house. That's absurd. 3 weeks off work. Where are you living? In the US you get 3 days at most. Well, that's the nice thing about living in places in Europe. They'll give you a lot of time off work when you need it. Like in the UK, some places, some employers will make it hard for you to get a day off by being sick. Like, I worked at a place before where like they demanded a sick note from your doctor if you were sick, which is bullshit, because like if you had like a bad cold or the flu, most doctors in the UK won't see you because it's the cold and the flu. There's nothing they can do about it. So, you know, getting an appointment with them is redundant. And at least with my doctor, it wasn't a case where I was like, hi, I'm sick. Can you give me a sick note, please? So at this place where I worked at, which to this day is still the worst job I've ever had, I told him one morning that I had the flu. I called up, you know, said that I can't come in today, I got the flu. And I said, well, have you got a doctor's note? And I was like, no, it's the flu. I can't see my doctor. They can't do anything for me. And so, well, you need a doctor's note, otherwise you're going to have to come in. I was like, really? Like, you're going to have me come in, sick with the flu, coughing, sneezing, all that kind of stuff? And they were like, well, I don't make the rules. I was like, yes, you do make the rules. You can approve it. Like, what do you do in other instances like this? And the simple answer to that was they had people come in when they had the flu. So what did I decide to do? I got one of my parents to give me a lift to work. I was like wrapped in a blanket and everything because I had horrible chills. And I went over to the person that I spoke to on the phone, who was this awful fucking manager that I wish the worst on. And what did I do? I just went right up to her, sat next to her, started my coughing and sneezing, not even putting on an act, like I was just going about as usual. And she was like, you're really sick. I was like, yeah, I know. I spoke to you on the phone. You heard me on the phone. Do I still need a doctor's note now? I was like, no, go home, it's fine. I was like, oh, it's funny how you can approve it now, isn't it? Like, fuck you. There was one guy there who had it even worse. There was this guy that worked there. I was doing sales training and he was one of the people that I was teaching. He was like deathly ill at his desk, and you know, I went up to him and was like, you doing all right? He said, like, no, I have the flu. I didn't catch it from him. This was like a bit before all this. But yeah, you know, I was like, are you all right? And he's like, no, I'm not good. And I was like, okay, go speak to the same person I spoke to and see if they can send you home. She said no. Like, the guy was pale, he was sweaty, he was congested, everything. This guy embodied the flu at this point. And so, you know, I said, go up. So I ended up going up to her and said, like, you know, you gotta let him off. Like, you gotta let him go home. He's terrible. And they said, like, no, he's in the training period right now. So if he ends up going home for any reason, he won't get approved, or he won't pass the probationary stuff. I was like, so what are you supposed to do? He says, well, he's got to stick it out then. What happened to the guy? Threw up all over his desk, all over his keyboard, passed out in that vomit, and we had to rush over there to like lift him up, make sure he was all right and everything, make sure he was still breathing, and ended up having to call an ambulance in to take him away because at this point he was pretty damn severe. And yeah, this manager as well, this awful person, like, they just stood there and watched and said, like, this could have been preventable, but you just let that happen. Said, I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. What happened to that guy? He got fired. He got fired for being sick. That's the thing, like, US is bullshit when it comes to employment and, you know, the rights of employees and, you know, the treatment of them when it comes to like sick days and stuff like that. But there's bullshit in every country. And, you know, that right there, like this ridiculous requirement to get time off work for being sick. Like, that is how like employers work around the rules set in place by the British government. You know, British government says if you're sick, you get time off, but they come up with different ways of preventing that from happening, and that was their way. Technically, I've been posting a few videos. I'm very proud of myself. I make fun edits too. That's good. It's good to have fun with editing. It makes the process a lot more enjoyable. Did anyone accuse Monet of using AI? If they're about these days, they probably would. Boomers and their lack of accountability always cracks me up. Also, the worst are millennials who pretend to be boomer and use it as an excuse to punch down. Yeah, I've met my fair share of millennials who are like, oh, I hate being a millennial. I feel so different from the rest of us. Oh, I don't eat avocado on toast, etc. Oh, shut up. Like, don't betray your own people. Those people also tended to be centrists, I will say that. The trick to buy an affordable house in the US, move to one of those dying towns, not even try on the cities. It will make you cry. Yeah, it's, you know, the old place where we used to live, it was, you know, not necessarily a dead town or anything like it. It had some stuff, it wasn't great, but property prices were like almost half of what they are in Charlotte. Most people just buy them to rent them out. Most of these homes are up for rent. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous that, you know, this shouldn't be allowed. Buy home structures, either estates or matchboxes. You know what? I would take a matchbox. It's, yeah. I would like a place just to be able to call our own, that I can finally do some decent cable management with, so I can drill holes in the wall and pass it through and not just have it all, you know, jury rigged so it looks okay. And, you know, if I had a space where I could get back into playing drums again, I would love that. Hard to do, but, you know, somewhat possible, I guess. I found out a few years into our relationship that my fiance's parents are landlords, and it blew my mind. That is unforgivable. Are they wealthy landlords? Could they have helped? They could just get, you know, they've got property. Just say, give us one of your places. You know, you don't need it anymore. You're well off now. My generational wealth comes from a few generations back. Hers is right there. Absolutely. I don't know the exact finances of my grandparents, but yeah, they're middle-class white people. You know, I'm in a weird situation where, like, now I don't know how much truth there is to this, but my dad tells me that his family in Iran is quite well off. Like, they own a good amount of land and everything. My family isn't well off by any means. So, like, I don't know if it's like a pride thing or if it's just like lying, but I've asked them, like, in the past, like, okay, well, when we've had financial struggles, why not ask them for money? And he said, like, well, you can't transfer, I can't remember the name of the currency, but like Iranian money into British, Great British pounds or sterling. And it turns out that was the case in the past. Like, there wasn't a exchange that you could do for them, and the amount of money didn't translate well into pounds. But that's changed now, and, you know, they still have financial issues. And, you know, I said, oh, well, why not ask then? And I was like, oh, it's fine. I shouldn't ask them for it. It's fine. And yeah, it must be a weird pride thing, I assume. Which is, you know, there is a saying, show me a person with pride and I'll show you a person with limited options. Just make houses sensible. I don't need a garage. Yeah, I don't need a garage. It's just more space to clean up. Latin American houses are also made of brick. No wooden houses anywhere south of the US border. yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, and like in Charlotte and probably other places in the US, like brick houses or like, you know, brick front houses are like the fancier houses. But, you know, it's weird coming from the UK and seeing that, just because I'm just like, every house is brick in the UK. I think it's supposed to be sturdier and, you know, it holds in heat better. Probably much more energy efficient when it comes to heating and cooling, etc. Since, you know, it holds it in better. But yeah, here we are, like in the US with like you know, all these shitty grey wood paneled houses and everything. Yeah, stone houses are a thing too. My parents' old house, that was a stone house. Very old house. It was like a Victorian era house. House, not house. It's a privilege to even have a GP. That is true. I mean, they're not too hard to get in the UK. I will say that. But, you know, to have one in the US, then, yeah, there is a decent amount of privilege to it. Managers are so flippant with doctor's notes, but they're difficult to get in this day and age. Very much so, yeah. And like I said, in the UK, if you have the flu, they just won't see you. Like, if you call up and say, hey, I have the flu, they'll just say, like, get plenty of rest, stay hydrated, and don't go out. And take a paracetamol or Tylenol. Like, yep, that's all you can do. In Venezuela, only wooden houses are the indigenous homes built on stilts above Maracaibo Lake. That's why Venezuela means Little Venice. I did not know that. Oh. It's an enlightening and entertaining stream. No prisoners will be taken. I mean, if you're referring to my old manager, they deserve to be in prison after what they did to that guy. Doctor's notes are ridiculous. If I'm too sick to go to work, I'm too sick to get my ass to the doctor too. If I don't need to be there. Absolutely, yeah. Hello, I'm late because my computer died. Hello, Ari. Thanks for coming. Hope your computer's better. How is everyone? I'm good. Talking about housing and sickness, two things that perfectly link in with one another. Them, who's your primary care provider? Me. Are you gonna ask about my butler next? Yeah, may as well. Yeah, like one thing that my wife had a hard time with recently is like she was been looking for a therapist, and in so many cases like that, like she would look around and it was like see a really good option, and then suddenly it looks like they accept our care provider, and it's just like it just turns out they don't accept your specific one. I was like, oh my god. And then there's other things about. In fact, here's a bullshit thing that I dealt with around the time where I was diagnosed with ADHD. So yeah, I'd been seeing my therapist, I'd been seeing my psychiatrist, and we were talking about the idea of me having ADHD, and we came to an agreement that yes, I do. All the symptoms fit and everything. So my psychiatrist said, tell you what we'll do, we'll try you on Ritalin and see if that helps you. So, you know, I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. You know, let's give it a try, see if it works. I'll try anything. So, yeah, she put me in a prescription for Ritalin, and, you know, there was a whole history to between my appointments with her and everything, exploring this. And then when the prescription gets put in, I end up getting a letter from the pharmacy saying, we can't approve this. And the reasons why were, there was two reasons. One was because I hadn't received a diagnosis before the age of 12. Like, that was the most ridiculous one. So I was like, well, what do you expect me to do about that? Like, get it, you know, travel into the past, be 12 again? Speak to a psychiatrist here in the US? But yeah, that was just like the reasoning. I can't remember what the second one was, but it was also stupid. But I had to get in touch with my psychiatrist again. I even like took a scan of the letter and said like, I can't get the Ritalin, this is why. She got back to me and said like, this is stupid, let me contact them, and luckily it worked at that point. But it's just like, it's so weird that like in the US you can get prescribed something by your doctor, like, you know, you can have an appointment, get all the details hammered out, and then suddenly it's just like, okay, me, a doctor, I will prescribe you this medication because I feel like you need it. I believe that you need it and that it will help you. And then you pass it over to the pharmacy and some arsehole over there is just like, nah, you don't need it. You don't have enough proof that you need it. You spoke to a doctor, big deal, who cares? I was just born in the wrong, oh god, the born in the wrong generation people. Insufferable. Look at any music video on YouTube from like the 80s, 90s, and 70s. You will inevitably find like some 15-year-old saying like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation. All the people from my era, they're like listening to Taylor Swift, but here I am. I really feel like class is a much easier indicator than generational divides. In general, I think so, yeah. You know, especially in British society too, like there's a real separation between the classes there, and you know, it stands out with people's personalities, their outlook on life and everything. Yeah, it's very prominent there. Yeah, I think it's real, Iranian real. Like if I leave $1,000 to my kids, that's generational wealth. I guess so. I'm not 100% certain on the definition myself, but I assume it can fall into that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a large amount of wealth being passed on. But I guess generational wealth can also just mean like, just be like overall indicative of like how much wealth a certain generation has amassed. So like the generational wealth of boomers is drastically higher than that of millennials, and Gen X's generational wealth is also higher. It's just dropping across the board. Like millennials have almost the same generational wealth as Gen Z's. But yeah, that's just because like the eras in which Gen Zs and millennials were born had a similar economic climate. We're all on the boat together, Gen Zs and those millennials. It's probably why our generations get along so well, to be honest with you, because we have so many similarities when it comes to the kind of circumstances we've grown up in. I think it's a cultural thing, same with Indian people. It's the whole selling land to difficult times pipeline. Literally the plot of Crime and Punishment, yeah. The whole guy feeling ill at work is really tragic. Yeah, it was horrible. Like, he was a super nice guy. He was actually like the best person in my current training group. He had a winning personality. He would have done very, very well in sales. So getting rid of him over something stupid like that was a huge mistake from them. Like, that guy, even when it was during the training stages, was selling like crazy. But it was a leaf blower outside. I don't know if you'll hear it, but it is there. Oh my god, I remember when I made spinach quesadilla, but the spinach was old, so after I went to work and started feeling bad, but because I was stubborn, I tried to finish my shift. But after a while, I threw up and they sent me home. That'll do it, in most cases. Yeah. But yeah, food poisoning is no fun. I've had it once since I've been here in the US. I threw up, and I am a loud vomiter. And my wife has a fear of it. She has a emetophobia. So what did she do when I was throwing up? She ran away, I literally mean ran, and went into the closet and covered her ears while I was there, like, with my head in the toilet and everything. I don't blame her, it's fine. I'm not upset with her about it. But, I don't know, it's just funny that that was a gut reaction to it. Whereas my gut reaction was emptying my gut. More Perfect Union just did a video about ADHD meds. And yeah, they're age restricted. For some reason they think people outgrow it. People outgrow it by being on medications. But yeah, it's just getting that response from, you know, having all these appointments and everything, talking about it and stuff. And then just getting a word back from your pharmacy saying like, nah, you don't need it. B12 again, and then get diagnosed. It's one of the things about health insurance from the other end that caused my burnout. I got screamed at a lot. Or did you work in health insurance? I mean, I don't envy anyone that works in health insurance. Like, you know, obviously I don't blame them as being part of the problem. That would be ridiculous. They're people just doing a job. But, you know, I imagine it's pretty soul-crushing stuff at times. I used to take Risperdal when I started taking meds, but I had a crazy shake, so they gave me Zyprexa, and now I'm better. That was one thing that I was worried about with taking Ritalin, because it had been the first time that I'd used, like, you know, legit stimulants, since, you know, Ritalin and Adderall is basically meth. You know, it's almost identical in makeup. So given that I have pretty bad anxiety at the best of times, I was like really worried about it just skyrocketing as soon as I took it. But clearly something worked with the Ritalin. Like, clearly it had a purpose, because I felt absolutely fine. Sometimes when the effect wears off, I'll feel not dazed necessarily, but a little bit out of it, but it doesn't last very long. So yeah, I take the fact that it didn't mess with me as a sign that, hey, this is something that you probably should have been taking for years now. A metaphobia gang, yeah, you should get matching jackets. Val Erie, hello again, how's it going? I've been, oh, you're feeling nauseous, let me get my noise cancelling headphones. I do have a pair of those, you can probably wear them. I was more annoyed at the fact that I had broken a 12-year streak of not throwing up. Yes, I'm a health insurance pro, and I'm glad they fired me. I mean, hey, I'd be a little bit proud of the fact that I got fired from a health insurance company. Moving out of the space entirely. It's identical, actually. It's just a clean version of it without the contaminants. I think I lost track there. But on that note, I'm going to take my break. I'll be about 4 or 5 minutes as per usual. Question of the day, since we've been talking about being ill and whatnot, is what is your... I hope your next street is 80 plus years. Me too. What is your comfort food when you are feeling ill? Chicken soup, scrambled eggs, toast, you know, something simple, straightforward, healing. What do you have? What's your go-to comfort food when you're feeling sick? Assuming you're in a situation where you can eat, but yeah. But yeah, I'll be back in about 5 minutes time. See you in a moment. Alright, I am back. Let's see what you said. So what is your favorite comfort food when you're ill? Viking Bear, my new comfort food when I'm feeling sick is mac and cheese. I've heard of that as being a comfort food for people. Gotta admit, I'm not a big fan of mac and cheese myself. I think the cheese is a bit too much for me. But I don't think I've ever tried really good mac and cheese either. I'm a bit iffy with cheese. See if I can pronounce this right. Samgyetang. Korean ginseng chicken soup with a jujube in it, or jujube, I don't know. But I've heard that ginseng's really good when you're ill. But also maybe cream of, tea and orange juice. But also maybe cream of chicken soup. Never heard of tea and orange juice before. Interesting combination. At the same time, with a side of Canada Dry. Ah yeah, ginger ale is a good go-to for people. Yes, my wife loves the matzo ball soup, and chicken broth as well is what she had when she was ill with COVID recently. Made plenty of bowls of that. Orange juice for cold/flu, chicken soup always, and cinnamon toast the morning after a stomachache. Really? Is that supposed to be good, or is that just a straight up comfort thing? I do love cinnamon toast. Cinnamon French toast is lovely. Matzo ball soup is so cozy. It is very nice, yeah. It's not something that I've like go out of my way for, but if it's there, I quite like it. Either it'd be aloo shedo bat, mashed potatoes and rice, that's good, or khichdi, a rice and veggie stew with lentils. Usually I like the former more. Okay. Kind of reminds me, this is Persian dish my dad likes making. I can't remember what it's called, but it's not mashed potato, but it's rice that has sort of a layer of sliced potatoes at the bottom of the pan. So like you have the rice and then the potatoes are underneath. I mean, he just calls it Persian rice. But yeah, it's like a layer of potatoes. So you get like these nice crispy slices of potatoes that's covered on top of the rice and everything. You can add like spices and stuff to it. Or you can just put some salt and pepper on there. But that's really nice. I've heard great things about matzo ball soup. Yeah, it is really nice. Pretty straightforward too. It's a little bit messy when you're making it. Because you're handling raw egg with all of this matzo meal, but you know, cooking it itself is pretty easy. Amazing, but even more amazing when made by my mother. What about when I make it? I've made it for you before, a couple times. I'll have to look into aloo shedo bat. Sounds good. Almost sounds like a Jewish dish there. It might be the shedo bat part of it. Nice to know there's a name for that. I just make that because at times potato soup with just salt is what my dad used to make me when I was ill, so that's another cozy food. Yeah, see with me it was like when I was younger I used to get tonsillitis quite a bit. My sister and I, like, we for some reason had we have naturally inflamed tonsils, and my sister used to get tonsillitis like once every 3 to 4 weeks until she had them out, and she used to get it really bad, and I used to get it really bad as well. Probably still would if I caught it, but yeah, my tonsils are naturally large, which sort of affects the tone of my voice. But when I used to get tonsillitis, they would balloon to the point where it was really difficult to eat and sometimes drink too. So one of the things that I found easiest to eat during that time was scrambled egg on toast. I guess the liquids from the scrambled egg would make the toast a little bit soggy but easier to eat. It also had some more flavor to it, and I'd put like a good amount of salt on the scrambled egg, which is, you know, relieving for the soreness of the tonsils. And scrambled egg is nice and soft, so it was easier to swallow and everything. But yeah, I never thought of it as a comfort food, more of like a necessity food. Is like that's the best I can eat right now, but I guess that's my closest to it. Never really been a soup person, I will say that. Potato soup is just salt, with just salt is what I do. Oh wait, I just read that. With a piece of bread soaked in, it's soft enough to swallow easily. Yeah, bread soaked in stuff like gravy or what have you is underrated, I will say that. Like, when I would have like you know, a Sunday roast dinner or toad in a hole or whatever that uses like a beef or chicken gravy, getting a slice of bread when I was done and just wiping that up, oof, so good. Comfort food when I'm ill, it depends on the illness. Hangover used to be a BK fish sandwich with cheese. Fish sandwich with cheese? And a large Coca-Cola. Colds, buttered toast, and hot chicken noodle soup. Sore throat, raw garlic. Yeah, I've never heard of raw garlic for it too. But I guess I could see that working. Chicken noodle soup can be nice. I do like some noodles. I like some ramen, you know. I should when it gets cold. My parents got me a Dutch oven for my birthday / holiday gift last year. I don't have a Dutch oven yet. I won't mind getting one. I don't feel like I'd use it that often, but you know, it's one of those things that's nice to have around. I usually do honey and apple cider vinegar 1-to-1 for a sore throat. See, I've heard things about because like apple cider vinegar's always been like one of those things, at least in recent years, which is like being, some people treat it like a miracle cure for everything from illness to weight loss. But I've also read things that basically say like it's not gonna do amazing things for you, but at the same time it's not gonna harm you, unless maybe you have like indigestion or heartburn easily, because you know it's a lot of acid. In fact, I remember a few years back, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's been like a thing on YouTube and whatnot, but there's these there's these tablets you can get called miracle berries, I think they're called, which is like this little red tablet that's made from this African fruit, which completely transforms your flavor palette briefly, and makes things like taste wildly different. Like it makes, like you can just bite straight into a lemon with it and it'll taste like lemon candy. And one of the things that I tried was apple cider vinegar, and it made it really sweet. It was baffling how it works. I think I still have one of those pills actually. I considered doing it for a stream once, but I don't know whether people would find something like that entertaining. But yeah, miracle berries, if you ever get some, give it a try. It's like they call the experience flavor tripping, because it really does transform things. Like you can have some sour cream and it tastes like it's cheesecake. You can bite into an apple and it tastes like a candy apple. Grapefruit is wonderfully sweet, although I can't eat it because I'm on antidepressants, which, if you know that... But someone just knocked on the door. Jesus Christ, it scared me. I'll be right back. Okay, it was just a delivery. They don't usually knock. I don't know if you heard it, but it was quite loud. But yeah. How bad did I jump then? I feel like I jumped quite a bit. But yeah, very exciting delivery. USB cables. Ooh. This one has a light on it. I never have enough USB cables. Oh yeah, where was I? If you ever visit California, in Oakland, there's a restaurant that only does mac and cheese called Homeroom. They have a cookbook. Oh, I've not heard about that. There is a restaurant in London. I'm a bit hesitant to call it a restaurant because it's kind of nonsense. But there is a place in London. I don't know if they're still going, but they are a cereal restaurant, and their whole shtick is just they have loads of different kinds of cereals there, and you just order it and eat a bowl of cereal at the restaurant. But it's like, I think last time I looked, it was like £7 or £6 for a bowl of cereal, which in US dollars that's like $8 or something. Which, what a ripoff. You know, you can buy like a whole box of cereal for like $3 or $4. But there they are saying like, you know, oh, here, have some Cheerios for $6. You don't even mind. But hey, if they're still going, they've figured it out. It's run by like a couple hipsters as well, like kind of people that you think should be running a brewery. Dio, aka Steve. Hello, hello. How are you doing? I'm good, thank you. How's it going? Are you on break for college yet, or are you back there right now, Dio? Jen, sing me a song / wave and morning. Made it to the stream, not at the end as usual. Nice to have you here, Chaos Lab. How's it going? Yeah, I'll still be going for about another hour or so plenty of time. Cinnamon toast is delicious. It is great. I love cinnamon. Like, cinnamon's one of my favorite flavors. I should try making more stuff that's got cinnamon in. I made apple cider donuts last year, I think, and that was one of the favorite things that I made. In fact, I have something I baked here the other day at my wife's request. Made some sugar cookies. This is a new recipe that I tried. See if I can get it there. Focus. Focus! Oh my god. Focus on the back of my hand. Jesus. There we go. And I gave it a little twist though by adding a nice layer of sugar crust on it. So once you roll up the cookie, you just get like a bowl of sugar, roll it around in it, and then you get this wonderful crust on the top. It's really nice. Very simple and straightforward, but undeniably wonderful. That is my email. What's the theme of the stream? That rhymes. Nothing really, to be honest with you, kind of winging it. That's what I tend to do unless I do a baking stream or if I decide to play something. Yeah, I mean, I might... What do I have to play right now? Yeah, I wouldn't maybe mind doing something like a party game stream at some point. But I don't know, I feel like... Because whenever I've done like streams like that in the past, even though I've got like a good amount of viewers on it, a lot of people end up not wanting to participate because, especially if it's like, you know, a Jackbox thing, like a comedy game or something, people worry about not being funny, which, you know, I understand that anxiety, but, you know, at the same time I also say to people, like, don't worry about it, like, you know, you're not expected to be a comedy genius. You could do Kahoot. Well, funny you say that. In our server, we used to do a trivia night thing, which once a month we would come up with a trivia, like me, my wife, and the mods would come up with a trivia which we came up with all the questions for. It was like 9 categories, 10 questions each, so 90 questions altogether. And you know, my wife and I really love trivia, and you know, a lot of other people do, but not enough people love trivia. So we would, even though like the turnout for the trivia night was pretty good at first, eventually it got to the point where we had like, I think like last time we did it we had like 7 people show up, which, considering the amount of work that we had to do for trivia, like to get all the questions, to put our time aside and all that kind of stuff, and I would present as well, like, you know, I would read out all the questions and everything, do all the hype, even though I'm not great at that. Yeah, by the end of it, it was just like really tough putting it all together. And I felt guilty asking the mods to put all this effort into something which wasn't really getting recognized by people. Also, we'd have a prize for it as well. We would give a free month of Discord Nitro to the winners. So we had incentive there. But we had so many people like saying, like, oh, I don't want to do trivia because, you know, I feel like I wouldn't be able to do very well at it. And would say to them, like, you know, don't worry about doing well. Like, some people suck at trivia. You might be better than you think. And we'd get weird responses sometimes, like there'd be a question, like read out a question. Sometimes you get people saying something like, how was I supposed to know that? I was like, yeah, that's how trivia works. You either know it or you don't know it. So, you know, as much as we love trivia and as much as there were some people that really enjoyed it, it was just so much work. So yeah, we ended up leaving it, at least for now. The dish you were referring to with Persian rice was potato tahdig. I'm not sure. It's one of those things I don't think my dad ever told me it in the Iranian translation. He just said Persian rice, but probably. I learned the ACV apple cider vinegar plus honey thing from my grandma, who will be 100 next year. The idea is to strip anything off your throat, and the honey coats it. Honey coats it, plus is antimicrobial. Okay, yeah, I guess I can see that with the acids. But if you're ever looking for something that is good for the throat, and especially good for the vocal cords, pineapple is amazing for it. It is a trick that professional singers and, you know, public speakers around the world swear by. I swear by it as well, since so much of my job involves speaking. There's something like the enzymes in the pineapple, especially pineapple juice, helps break down mucus and other things that are inside your throat and your vocal cords. It really clears out your passages and smooths out your voice and everything. It's fantastic. Don't drink too much pineapple juice though, because, and I found this out the hard way, those enzymes actually break down your skin if you have too much of it. And I found that once I drank a lot, it made my lips and tongue quite tingly. So yeah, don't overdo it. Croutons always improve any creamy soup. See, croutons I'll eat on their own. Just a nice crunchy snack. But yeah, if you ever see miracle berries in the wild or order them online, give them a try. There's one hell of an experience. Just take a miracle berry, buy a bunch of foods. Like, you can look up lists of like stuff that's good with miracle berries, and, you know, have yourself a good time. It only lasts for like because I think miracle berries were originally made with the intention of improving the appetite of people who are going through treatments like chemotherapy, because apparently it can like deaden your taste or sense of taste for some people. You know, my mother, like, she went through chemotherapy recently, but she was very fortunate that it didn't affect hers. It messed with her appetite a bit, and that is another reason why miracle berries is supposed to help because it can just make things taste delicious. But, you know, if you're just a regular person without any issues, it's also very fun to experiment with. Oh yeah, and salt and vinegar chips too. Like, that made those sweet, which was weird. Think a rat chewed on some cables? Oh god. It reminds me of the time where my dog once pissed on my Xbox. In the US, don't they have that ice cream spot, which is inspired by cereal? I've never heard of that before. Cloud Thief, hello, how's it going? I promise I'm catching up with the chat. Alcohol is difficult, so they targeted the next best addiction. Nostalgia. I mean, hey, I'd rather be... It's better to be addicted to nostalgia, let's put it that way. Even though it does keep you in the past. I'm at work right now, but my college has started. My schedule is super busy because of that. Ugh. Yeah, my nephew was going to university. You know, never had like a moment free. Autumn's coming up, lots of opportunities for cinnamon, and I will exploit those opportunities to the best of my extent. I want to make some cinnamon buns. Never made those before, but I love them. I recently made raspberry and cashew cookies. Very good. Oh, that does sound good. I do really like cashews. Was it just like regular cookie with cashews and raspberry inside of it? I reckon that white chocolate would go really well with that. I'm taking acting classes and dance classes this semester, so it's pretty fun. I might just get a role in Dalman Studios. Follow your dreams. I've said it before and I stand by it. I would love to be in a Dalman video. Those videos are so ridiculous. In fact, Dio and I have had plenty of fun at their expense. But yeah, if you've never seen a Dalman video, please watch them. They are ludicrous. The most contrived plots that you've ever seen. You've probably seen the thumbnail pop up here and there, but it's like, I think one that I first got introduced to him by was like the title was something like, you know, gamer girl underestimated by family, here's what happens. And it's like this, I don't want to put it up as like reaction content because I'm sure like Dalman's a prick about content claiming, but it was this like video of this young girl, probably like 12, 13 years old. It's Christmas, her brother gets a PS5 and she gets like a Barbie doll or something like that, you know, something heavily gender coded, which, you know, I mean, first of all, like, the brother's getting a $500 console and she's getting like a, what, $25 doll. Who's the kid that they really love? So like she gets this doll and she's like, but I want to play PlayStation. And the mother and the son are just like, girls don't play video games. And that is like the caliber of acting, by the way. She's like, girls don't play video games. Go play with your doll. That's for you. But, you know, she's all sad. Like, oh, I want to play video games. And then it like shows a thing where she like secretly plays Call of Duty Warzone on it. And, you know, she's really good, but mum doesn't care because, like, no, that's not for you. And she's like playing, and she's playing, and, you know, Warzone and other battle royale games, you know, they're not easy to win, but they're watching a play and it's like, okay, well, let's see how you do then. And the mother's watching, and the daughter ends up like dying at some point, and the mother's just like, see, video games aren't for girls because you didn't win this difficult game. And then later on, when they're at the mall, who does this I was about to swear then. Who does this kid run into? But SS Sniper Wolf. Horrible stalker woman, SS Sniper Wolf. And she's like, oh my god, it's SS Sniper Wolf, a girl gamer. And I said like, hey, how's it going? It's like, I'm good, but my parents won't let me play video games. I said, what? I'm a girl gamer, and let me tell you, women can just do all the same shit as men. Like, you know, I'm basically a suffragette. Me, SS Sniper Wolf. And she gives her a free PS5. You know, it's like, oh, here you go. I'm wealthy from all of those reaction videos. Here's your free PS5. I've got 12. And the girl like takes it home, hooks it up in secret. She's playing, and like the little rat son tattles on her when he sees her playing. It's like, Mom, she's playing the PS5. Video games are for girls. You need to stop this. Ugh. He doesn't cry, but it'd be funny if he did. But he's just like there watching, and mum just runs in, just like, what did I tell you about girls playing games? Get the fuck off. She didn't swear, but she just like is watching, but the girl's not paying attention. No. She's like engrossed in Warzone, and they're just watching. And lo and behold, she wins the whole thing. Mom's just like, oh shit, I was wrong. Girls can play video games. But not only that, no, that's not it. The girl starts streaming, which, I mean, she's 13, like, she probably shouldn't be streaming. She starts streaming, and lo and behold, she gets a deal from a like company that, you know, has a roster of streamers and everything, and she's earning like 50 grand as a finder's fee and all that kind of stuff, or whatever it's called. And suddenly she's like a big streamer, and who's watching her stream but SS Sniper Wolf? Real proud of her there. Ah, man, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Give it a try. Sumi, hello, how's it going? Nice to have you here. How are you doing? Nice to have you back. Got very sidetracked from the chat there. And the Deer Prince too. How is it going? Just joined the stream. How's everyone doing? I'm good. Revisiting the joy of Darman. I love these streams much more than I would like a trivia stream. I mean, I think there is a Jackbox game, Trivia Murder Party. Could try that at one point. It's not as intensive as the trivia we used to do, but it's fun. Played a Jackbox game earlier in the day, which is about trivia. Was it Trivia Murder Party? If you brought it back, I would totally join, maybe as a monthly thing. We'll see. I think if we ever did it again, it would probably be like a quarterly thing. Because like I said, it was a lot of work putting together the trivia nights. What tastes better, jasmine rice or American rice? Jasmine rice, definitely. That or like short grain Japanese rice. Like that's really good. But yeah, jasmine all the way. It has like more moisture to it, and it clumps together better. I'm not a big fan of basmati rice. It's alright if you have it like with a curry, but on its own, it's a bit too dry. I'm gonna have some pineapple juice after work. Go for it. It's real good stuff. I love pineapple juice. I need pineapple juice and mango juice. As juices go, they're at the top. Orange juice is okay, but good God, does it give me heartburn. Fried eggs over rice is a staple of Venezuelan cheap cuisine. Really? I guess that makes sense. When I think of that, I always think of Japanese dishes, like, you know, well, ramen uses a boiled egg inside of it. I like a fried egg on a burger, you know, and, you know, make it a little bit over medium, so it's got a bit, you know, it's not too sloppy or anything like that. Reminds me of omelette rice or oma rice from anime. The thing is that oma rice looks so good, but the only thing that will put me off from it is that egg on the inside of oma rice is basically raw, and I cannot stomach raw egg. I know, like, in like Japanese cuisine, they have quite a few dishes that use raw egg. Like, some people like just cracking a raw egg over their ramen. But yeah, I couldn't do that. The texture, oof. Good evening, sorry I had an immediate nap after work because I was so exhausted. How are you all doing? I'm doing quite well, Sumi. How are you feeling after, because I remember, you know, you were disenfranchised with your work situation. Have you come to terms with it and everything? Waiting for pumpkin spice. Ah yes, the pumpkin spice season. Which, if I'm being honest with you, pumpkin spice is mostly cinnamon and nutmeg. Great combination. Barely any pumpkin. I remember trying this pumpkin spice latte when, you know, people were going crazy for it. I was like, alright, let's see what the big deal is. It's nothing special. It's fine. I won't go out my way for it. Can't stand Darman. They're always way too over the top. I mean, that's what makes them great, I think, in a way. Well, great's not the right word, but, you know, enjoyable. Just how contrived they are. And I think the thing that's most baffling is, like, you would expect to look at the comments of a Darman video and see loads of people just having fun at its expense. Like, commenting on how corny it is and everything. But it's filled with people who was like, wow, this is a really special thing. I had a similar experience, and wow, it just goes to show that you know, people should be treated equally. Like, they get really into it. And I was like, who are you people? Darman Studio has evolved. He has his own cinematic universe now. When I say it's gotten worse, it doesn't even capture it. I think I'm gonna have to check him out later in incognito mode. I do not need that infecting my YouTube recommendeds. Darman saw Rage Bait once and was inspired. He did indeed, and he worked off it. He also, like, I think he got in trouble once for, like, some dodgy business stuff that he was doing and selling weed, I think. Something like that. And it wouldn't surprise me if all of his YouTube stuff is a straight up scam too. He also pays his editors shit as well. Like, video editors, I remember seeing there was a thing saying that his video editors get paid like $15 an hour, which, if you know anything about editing work, that is way, way too low. I can only engage with Darman in the sense that other people talk about it. Yeah, it's kind of like, Darman videos are kind of like salt. You know, it's enjoyed in moderation. Too much salt is, you know, one of those things where the right amount is perfect. Too much of it and you begin to gag. Sniper Wolf makes me feel vile. I don't blame you. Sniper Wolf fucking sucks. Yeah. Like, I think there was this whole ordeal where she ended up basically stalking and doxing Jack's films. Yeah, really shitty. Which is still going on though. Suffragette, more like suffer. I don't know, this joke didn't work as well as I thought it would. It's fine, I've been there. I only remember any of them because of SS Sniper Wolf. That was my introduction to Darman's videos. Not because she was in it, just because I saw the title there saying, like, Gamer Girl teaches family a lesson. You remember the entire story in detail. I've forgotten half of it. It left an imprint in my brain, let's put it that way. I felt like I was gazing into the unknown abyss here of content that was just so beautifully corny and emotionally manipulative, where I was like, this is true cinema here. Darman, he gets it. I mean, I still beat the pants off my dad in games and he's a salty loser. You know, I never played video games with my parents. They have always been of the mindset that they're a waste of time. So, well, most things that you watch on television are a waste of time, so can't judge me. At least I'm working on my hand-eye coordination. I would suffer without video games, not gonna lie. I would too. You know, it's my biggest pastime, I'd say, next to baking and playing music. But yeah, it'd be a boring life. Very funny because I had to teach my brother to game since, you know, I had a full 5 years of practicing before he came along. I have some nephews that are into gaming. One got really into it and then sort of dropped off. And my oldest nephew, who I'm probably closest with, I was never able to get him into it, which is a shame. Although I did introduce him to, well, I guess my wife technically did, but we convinced him to play The Sims, and that basically pushed him onto his life ambition of wanting to become an architect. What even is American rice? We literally have every kind here. Good question. Rice-a-roni? Yeah. Did they produce rice in America? Because I always assumed it would have to be like much warmer, perhaps more humid climates. UC Davis up in Highway even developed a flood-resistant rice that's starting to make it to the market. I'm in a rice-growing part of well, I guess that answers my last question. Hi everyone, sorry I'm late. No need to apologize to me. How's it going? How's Devil May Cry 5? How are you liking it? Great game. Anyway, see you in Discord. I'm gonna go. Laptop's almost dead and I need a nap. No problem, Ari. Hope you keep well. Hope the laptop stays well. The idea of raw egg makes me oof. No, yeah, no kidding. I'm very delicate when it comes to texture, and I remember like when I was, this isn't a gross story necessarily, so you know, I'll keep it clean, but I remember when I was a child and my mother made a full English breakfast for us, which, if you're unaware, a full English breakfast consists of, it can be a variety of things, but generally the core components are like bacon, toast, sausage, egg, whether that's like fried egg or scrambled egg, and if you're so inclined, some baked beans, which I don't like, so I leave that out of it. So for me, it's mostly just the toast, bacon, sausage, egg. It's lovely stuff, without a doubt. Very greasy, very high in calorie, but it's a good way to start the day. Not every day. But my mother once made me some full English breakfast, and so I was eating it. I had the fried egg there, and I remember vividly the fried egg looked perfectly fine from the top, but I remember vividly like taking a slice out of the fried egg, put it in my mouth, and I just felt all of this egg white, this loose egg white there, and it was. I won't even add more color to what it felt like because it was so gross, but that really just put me off for life. And my father-in-law, my father-in-law can't cook shit. Like, I think he knows like spaghetti, which is super easy, and scrambled egg. And one time when we were having breakfast at their house, he made some scrambled egg, and I was just like stood beside him as he was at the counter making it in the pan, and cooked it for a bit. It started clumping up and everything, but like as it was just like just after it got to the forming stages where it was still very wet, still not completely cooked, he turned off the stove. I was like, are you gonna do something else with it? Like, no, it's done. I'm like, is it? And I did not touch that. It was just one of those things. I was like, I love scrambled egg, but there's no way I'm going in for that one. Like, that's, yeah. And apparently it's a very southern thing, which, you know, I did not know, and I will be sure to avoid in the future. But yeah, that was, ugh. It's for spicing a pumpkin pie, or the pumpkin spice I guess. Yeah, because, you know, pumpkin pie also has, like, the nutmeg and cinnamon and everything. But, yeah, it's... I don't taste pumpkin in pumpkin spice stuff. It's always just the cinnamon and nutmeg for me. Yeah, work is okay at the moment, I guess. At least no issues at the moment I'm aware of. Thank you for asking. That's good to know, yeah. So I know you're having a hard time last time, but, you know, like I said, those work assessments are bullshit. Not worth taking seriously. I can't watch cringe content, so Darman is just a no-no for me. Kind of wasting my time, but that's me personally. Like I said, only so much of it. I'll watch one every now and then. It has been a good while, but yeah. I think the cringiest thing about the Darman videos and videos like that is just there tends to be no sense of self-awareness there. Or on the other side of the spectrum, it's horribly exploitative by trying to make all of these over-the-top emotional things from completely unlikely scenarios. But yeah. It's not supposed to taste like pumpkin by itself. Yeah, it's... Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's just like a tasting for me. Like, I really like pumpkin pie. I will say that. I've never tried pumpkin spice latte. Give it a try. You know, there's some people go nuts over it. Just wasn't for me. If you do get one, go to your local coffee shop. Yeah, that's true, yeah. I did get mine from a Starbucks, so, you know, there is that. You can also buy creamer for it as well. I don't know how good it is, but yeah. I prefer Dunkin' over Starbucks. I'd say I do as well, yeah. Starbucks I only like for like the Frappuccinos, but even then, like, it's not something I'll go for regularly. Like, if I ever get like a Starbucks gift card, I'll be like, fuck it, may as well get one. But Dunkin', yeah, I think they've got the better quality stuff there. Although, as franchises go, I will say Krispy Kreme has the better donuts. I played The Sims 4 only building and have all the DLC only to use for the building. See, my wife really loves The Sims 4. Like, she's put a ton of hours into it. Did anyone play that Inzoi character creator thing recently? I gave it a go and it was very, very detailed. OMG DMC5 was amazing. Did you manage to finish it yet? But yeah, it was really damn fun. DMC5. And of course there was, I don't know if you've seen it, there is the spectacular dance scene that Dante does when he gets his hat weapon. Extraordinary. Perfection. I'd say my only qualm with DMC5 was the bits where you play as V. It was a bit too... I appreciate what they were trying to do with it, but I don't know, it just felt like it felt a bit cumbersome, I guess. But the Dante bits, playing as Virgil as well, Virgil in DMC5, oof, that was good. That was the most fun I had in it. If you don't like raw eggs, do you like eggnog? Well, I do like eggnog, that's the thing. I thoroughly enjoy it. Once the fall comes around, I'll get eggnog like every couple of weeks or something. It's wonderful. But you know, at the same time, like, you know, I enjoy a good meringue too, like a soft meringue. Which, you know, that's all egg white. I mean, you can cook the meringue, but I guess it is partially cooked. Like, if you put it on a lemon meringue pie, you do mix it with very hot sugar, which technically cooks it. But I also enjoy raw cookie dough as well, but it's well incorporated with everything. I know I shouldn't eat raw cookie dough, but I do. I live my life on the edge. I spent well over 1,000 hours in The Sims 4, also building stuff for the most part because it's fun. It's a lot of time, but I cannot judge because I have over 10,000 hours in Dota and Dota 2 put together. And I currently recently reached 3,000 hours in Final Fantasy XIV. Time well spent? Who can say? But time enjoyed is not time wasted. I literally go to Dunkin' at least once a week. I haven't been there in years. I think the last time I went to one was when I was at the airport going back to England, so a couple of years ago. I do want to make more donuts. Donuts are my weakness, I will say that. Also, after beating the story mode, I stumbled into the Bloody Palace mode, and I got to floor 40 with V on the first try. I was laughing like a maniac the whole time. It was glorious. Nothing ever played that mode. I always just kept replaying the main story mode, just to like get those triple S ranks. Yeah, I don't think I touched that one. I'll have to replay it someday. It's a very replayable game. I love eggnog. Yeah, eggnog is fantastic. You know, if you had like a nice extra touch of cinnamon sprinkles on the top of it. How Dare You V was my favorite. I liked how corny his character was, but just the play style, I was a little bit... Like I said, I appreciate what they tried. I will say that. I just realized I say I will say that quite a bit. I should probably stop. Anyone here playing Fields of Mystria? My wife just started playing it recently. I got her it as a gift, as a thank you for looking after me while I was sick. Since I so rarely get sick, you know, something that I felt was worthy of showing my appreciation. But yeah, she hasn't played a lot of it yet, but she says that she likes what she's seen so far. Watch my VODs, the carnage I can create with this man is something to behold. I'll give it a try, yeah. Because I actually did, I remember I looked up some videos on, like, you know, how to be good with V, and that did help. But yeah, I don't know, it's just I think it was just mostly when you put him in contrast with Nero and Dante. Dante especially, like, because I have the most fun with Dante outside of Virgil stuff. My games are The Sims 4 and Elden Ring, literally two extremes of the gaming spectrum. Yeah, because all those like hardcore Elden Ring / Souls players, like when they mock the casuals, also go play The Sims. And weirdly enough, you get people saying, go play Tetris. I was like, yeah, Tetris is a challenging game once you get so far. It's also great. Tetris is arguably a perfect game. What are you talking about? Fields of Mystery is so fun, I can't decide on who to romance. It's in early access right now, right? I've seen some of the characters on the store page. And my wife's also been playing quite a bit of Coral Island too. Sorry, my nose is quite dry. In fact, I might take another quick break just so I can moisturize my sinuses. I played Cookie Run and Dreamview Valley from Disney. Is it Dreamlight Valley? Okay. Yeah, my wife actually plays Dreamlight Valley too. Yeah, I figured it was early access. Seems like a lot of these life sim games launch in early access these days, which is fine, you know. Better to iron out the wrinkles before putting it all out there. Yeah, I think Dreamlight Valley was originally supposed to be free to play, but they pivoted once I guess they figured that they had enough content to make it a $30 game, which, you know, I think is fine, as long as you're not shortchanging people. And you know, from what I've heard, or from what my wife tells me, like a lot of things you can get in that game are pretty achievable through regular ways. I always try to get into cozy games, but streaming actually made me realize I'm way more into rhythm and hack and slash games. Yeah, you know, that's the thing about like the cozy game stuff. Like, I find it hard to get into them. And I think like if you wanted to stream something like that, you need a very specific audience that's into it. And a lot of people that watch like cozy / life sim games, like the people who watch them on stream generally like want to see people that have like really good build ideas, like decorations, and they also want to see like people who are like quite far into the game as well. Because, you know, outside of that, only other people that we'll be watching might be those who are just like curious about playing it and want some idea of it. The closest I've got to a cozy game on here was Unpacking, which is a good game. Oh yeah, if any of you play Coffee Talk, which was, you know, a solid visual novel style game, they announced that there is going to be a third game coming out. I think it's called Coffee Talk Tokyo or something like that. But yeah, that's quite interesting. I believe you can play them both on Game Pass, but you can buy those games dirt cheap these days, most places. Elden Ring was the last great game that was a complete at launch. There was something else. What was it? I mean, God of War Ragnarok was complete at launch, and that was really damn good. I will say, like, it tends to be... developers are generally doing a better job these days at releasing complete games at launch. So I will give them that. Some of them have been less exploitative about cutting pieces out. But, you know, you can get like, you know, companies like Ubisoft, for example, are terrible at it. Like, even with the new single player Star Wars games, I think, was it Star Wars Outlaws? They're doing like a season pass for it. I think there might be a battle pass as well for a single player game. They have like missions that you can only get if you get like the deluxe or ultimate edition or something like that. It's ridiculous. Like, Ubisoft, one of the worst publishers out there by far. Like, they really suck. There was a joke actually, like, why is something like, why is EA the worst developer in America? Why is EA the worst publisher in America? Because Ubisoft is in France. There. Feeling a bit sleepy, but I'm still here, guys. Buckarage, if you want to go sleep, I'm not going to take offense to it or anything. I understand it's very late in India right now. But, you know, if you want to stick around, I'll probably be wrapping up soon anyway. Since, well, I at least need to get my break in a moment, I will say that. I don't know if you can tell, but, like, my nose is kind of closing up. I play it for free since I have Apple Arcade. I didn't know that it was on that. I started Stardew Valley, which in theory is a cozy game, but that's just a stress factory with all the running against the clock. Yeah, running against the clock really doesn't negate the whole, you know, life aspect of it. Especially when the days are pretty quick in Stardew Valley. That, and you also have like that energy limit as well. Take away energy limits. I think the last life sim game that I got into was probably Animal Crossing. Like, I put in I think almost 200 hours into that. But once you have completed most of the things that can be done in that game, it really falls off. And yeah, I just felt like I was just going through the motions at a certain point. But one thing that I really did not like about Animal Crossing New Horizons was the fact that your tools would break. Like, if you use this shovel, you get like 30 uses out of it, and then just poof, it would disappear. You have to go back to a bench and make another one, or have an inventory of like 2 or 3 shovels on you, which, you know, just takes up inventory space. I would have loved it if they patched out that design decision at some point, but Nintendo, for some reason, decided that it doesn't like money anymore, so it decided to stop making content for it, which I do not understand. Like, they could have cleaned up with that game, just releasing content packs and whatnot. Yeah, fun game at first, but the fall off is hard. Heck yes, I'm also looking forward to the Coffee Talk sequel. Me too. I definitely enjoyed the first game more than I did the second one. The second one wasn't bad, but the first one had something special about it. I know that I think the lead developer was different for the second game, because I believe the developer of the first game, or producer, I can't remember what it was, sadly passed away quite young. But, you know, the spirit was there, and I appreciated that. I do love Just Dance. Never tried one of those games. I've never been a dancing game person. Rhythm games, fun, but moving around, all that stuff, I'm too inhibited. I did try Ring Fit Adventure. I know it's not a dance game, but it is a movement game. And yeah, like, that game is a workout. My only issue though is that it made my knees feel like shit, because there is so much running on the spot, and that's all that impact's just being absorbed by your knees. Oof, yeah, it took its toll. I think a big part of cozy games is forcing the player to slow down, and it rubs some players in the wrong way. Yeah, exactly. You know, that is the nature of these games like that. Slow, steady life, nothing too high strung or anything. But when you're like working against a clock, you know, it does feel like, you know, ooh, what do I do with my day? Like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I need to talk to this person, etc., etc. And yeah, games when you're up against a clock are always a gamble. And I think with life sims or cozy games, etc., like, you have to be generous with the time. If you must have a time limit, you have to be generous with it. I'm in the same vein with Just Dance. I love Nintendo Switch Sports. I have lots of issues with it, but it takes me back to Wii Sports Resort. Yeah, Wii Sports, that's a nostalgia trip right there. I believe it might be the best-selling game of all time, but that is also because it was packaged in with the Wii, which, you know, that console sold like more. I don't think it's the best-selling console of all time. I think that's the PlayStation 2 still. The Switch might surpass it. But yeah, Wii Sports, everyone was playing. Everyone and their grandma was playing that game. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick break again, just so I can clear up my nose. If you haven't answered the question of the day yet, people who have just arrived here, then feel free to answer it. It's pinned up there, I think. But yeah, what's your comfort food when you're ill? But I'll be back. Give me about 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll start the wrap up. See you soon. Alright, I'm hopefully moisturized now. It's weird moisturizing your nostrils. You have to use like a saline spray. It's not perfect, but it's something. Alright, let's see. Already answered, but I'm always in the mood for chicken and rice. It's my comfort food when I'm mentally sick, you could say. My wife, I don't have like just a general comfort food, but my wife, she has the buttered noodles, which I believe is fairly popular among people. Just like a bit of salt and butter on it. My comfort food when I'm sick is tramadol. Delicious. Tramadol's never worth it. I remember when I was in the UK last, I was getting back pain from the bed that we were sleeping on, and my mother just comes around and says, "Here, have some of this." And I looked at the package, Tramadol, which, you know, is a pretty hefty painkiller. So I'm fine with ibuprofen. Instant noodles, not great for the health. I mean, lots of salt, I will say that, but instant noodles are nice. I won't deny that. I like my soups when I'm sick, when I'm close to getting better. I like to treat myself with a soft-boiled egg and toast. Do you cut the toast into strips? Because that's what we do in the UK. We cut them into strips with some butter on them, and they're called soldiers. Take the strips, dip them inside the boiled egg. Delicious. Yes, good to hear. Yeah, that's probably a childhood favorite of mine. Boiled egg, dipped with the toast, cut into strips, dipped them in. Very, very nostalgic, I will say that. Red lentil and coconut soup, chicken soup also works for me. Lots of soups, I've noticed. Which is fine, you know, soups are your typical go-to. Easy to eat, generally nourishing, all that kind of stuff. You know, the reason it's so salty because you're only supposed to use half of the seasoning in instant noodles. Whenever I look on the packaging, it always says use the whole package. Well, one thing that I've like always found not so palatable is when they actually have like the vegetables in the instant noodles. And I don't know why it is. It's just the thought of freeze-dried or dried up vegetables, like, you know, peas or what have you. It just irks me a little bit. Just too weird for my liking. I don't know. But there is a ton of sodium in those things. Yeah, like a lot of sodium. So if you have instant noodles regularly, you know, be careful. You mess with your blood pressure. Like, you can always add less, but the instructions on the noodles I've made definitely say just to add the package. Yeah, that's true. I would take the little veggies out. They don't rehydrate well somehow. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, always have like sort of a weird crisp to them in a way. I always appreciate it when they put one sachet with the vegetables in it and one sachet with the seasoning inside of it. Like, they should all do that. But like the ones that put all the vegetables like mixed in with the dried noodles, no. Like, with those, I would like take them out. I'd take out like the brick of noodles and just like try and shake out all of those freeze-dried vegetables. And like, nah, we're not doing that. Peas aren't it? See, I only don't mind peas when they're in like a fried rice, and that is because, you know, there's enough flavor and enough other textures like the rice texture to distract from it. And I only got used to it because when I was a kid, when we ordered Chinese food, you know, I asked my parents or my mother just to like, could you take out the peas? And she would do so. But as I got older, my mother was basically like, nah, you're gonna eat it or not. I'm not taking out all those peas. I want to eat. So I just put up with it, and I didn't like spending all that time taking the peas out. So eventually I was like, fuck it. So I just kept eating it, and eventually I just was fine with it. There wasn't enough peas to make the flavor bad, at the very least. So yeah, that's how I got used to it. I just didn't focus on it. Top Ramen used to recommend using only half a packet of seasoning when frying the noodles. But would it be different when you're using the boiled water though? Top Ramen. Have I ever seen that one? Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I also like pasta with pesto from the jar. It's quick, cheap, and filling. Don't think it's pasta. So is pasta in the jar? Like wet pasta in the jar? Alright, who here what's it called? Somewhat common seasoning. taste. Crap, what's it called? Let's see if I can find it. Very good, Birdie. Yes, you got me. Cilantro. Yeah. So there's apparently a weird genetic thing with cilantro. That for some people it can taste like soap. Which of you has that taste? Because whenever I have cilantro, whenever my wife has it, it tastes like soapy for us, so we don't really like having it. Which of you tastes the soap, and which of you tastes something good? Or not soap at the very least. Any chunk in noodles breaks the mood, but peas are awful indeed. That feels poetic, that does. You're only supposed to add half the packet and the noodles. Okay, so now, I guess that equate. So half the noodles, that would be like the whole serving size then, I guess. Serving sizes is such bullshit in my opinion. They're a way to sort of manipulate the calorie count in some things. Like you'll get certain dishes that, you know, you'll look at the package and you'll see like, you know, oh, it's only 200 calories per serving size. Then you'll look at what the serving size is and it's like tiny. So you look at it and think like, oh, 200 calories, there's barely any there. But it turns out, you know, if you have what a typical person would have, which is not the serving size, it'll be a bunch of calories. You know, you can look at like a frozen pizza and it'll say serving size 340 calories and or 400 calories, and it'll turn out it's for like an eighth of the pizza. Only pesto is in a jar. Oh, okay. That makes sense. I was gonna say, I've never heard of pasta in a jar before. What is this amazing invention? You want it after the pasta is cooked. Yes, I have. Cilantro is banned from our house. Good. Don't like it. Hello, evening, me, hi. How's it going? I like cilantro, but my mom tastes soap. Okay. So it doesn't run in the family, I guess. I only like the smell. I don't even like the smell either. That's the thing. Sometimes, like, on very rare occasions, my wife and I get, like, HelloFresh stuff. It's way too... I guess I shouldn't discourage it in case I get a sponsorship with them one day. But yeah, every now and then we get HelloFresh, which is delicious and affordable. But when it comes to the ingredients, they like including cilantro pretty often, but it goes straight in the trash for us. I usually throw out packets and make my own sauce for the noodles. Garlic, soy sauce, red chili peppers, egg, yada yada yada. That's a pretty good choice, yeah. It's good to experiment with that kind of thing. You also use oyster sauce as well. That's really nice. In fact, and I know it's going to seem, once again, like paid by them, but Trader Joe's has a really nice sauce called soyaki, and it's like this soy, teriyaki, garlic, and sesame seed mix that works really well, wonderfully flavored. And in fact, I make burgers with them. I put it as like the base flavor, add a bit of salt, pepper, some breadcrumbs, egg, just get it all bonded together. Not to brag, but they're the best burgers I've ever had. So that's the thing that's always kind of like bothered me with like burgers that you'll get even from like really nice burger restaurants. Like, to me, a burger needs to be carried by the flavor of the burger, the meat inside of it. But a lot of like, you know, you'll get like gourmet burger places that, you know, it's like, oh, we have Angus beef, delicious. And we stack a load of shit on top of the burger. Like you'll get places put like onion rings or, you know, truffle fries or, you know, or just anything. Like they just put these giant stacks of stuff on the top. And at that point it's like, this is barely a burger anymore because it's just all these other things and there just happens to be a patty of meat at the bottom of it. Like, that isn't how dishes work. You need the centerpiece for it. And because I'm a bit of a fuddy-duddy when it comes to toppings and stuff, when I get a burger, I don't like to put much stuff on it. You know, I want the beef to do the talking. So when I've gone to these places, like I end up ordering like a burger, maybe an egg on top of it, something else, you know, just to give it a bit more variety in there. And the burger themselves just taste so bland, you know, there's barely even like any salt on it or anything. But yeah, like, so I decided, you know, I'm gonna make my own burgers. You add just all these flavors into it, experiment, is wonderful. Instead of being gouged for like $25 for a mediocre burger with some mediocre fries. Just so you can sit in a restaurant where they have that music that's way too loud and those shitty metal chairs that scrape and bust an eardrum whenever you pull them out because it's on a stone floor. This is something very specific. I don't know if it can be sympathized with or recognized by other people. But you know, those restaurants where they have like the metal chairs, those cheap ass metal chairs that like every gentrified restaurant seems to have. One of the burger restaurants I deliver for does that. Never got to try them, no. Yeah, it was a thing in the UK a few years back, and they probably are still doing it in some places, but there was just like a string of gourmet burger places that would open up, and every single one of them was just trying to outdo each other with the amount of toppings that they had on it. And you know, it would be, you'd see like the burgers with like a steak knife stabbed directly through it because they couldn't stand on their own. But yeah, some of these things were just like, some of the burgers that they were selling were just like an entire day's allowance of calories and probably an entire week's allowance of fats. So too much. It's not a burger anymore. It's a sandwich where there happens to be a burger in it. Oh god, the metal chairs so uncomfortable. Yeah, they are awful. Like those chairs, like, let me try and show a picture of it just for illustration purposes. Pretty sure you'll all recognize this as soon as I show it. Okay, yeah, this is basically it here. Nope. Yeah, this is the one I'm talking about. Like, this is the seat that you'll see in like every single one of these like in the city gentrified restaurant kind of thing. These shitty hollow metal chairs that just feel awful. They're not comfortable at all, but they're supposed to be rustic. They're supposed to be like, you know, down to earth kind of seating, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, and the stools too. Yeah, the stools, same kind of materials and everything. The stools that they have like outside and they get like super heated by the sun, so they burn your butt cheeks as soon as you touch them. Yeah, those suck. I try to avoid any restaurant that has those chairs. It's kind of a sign for what you're about to get into, I think. Yeah, Five Guys has decent chairs, but they also overcharge for their burgers. They have good fries, but, you know, fries in a burger shouldn't be like $30. At Taco Bell and McDonald's chairs? No, they have much better chairs, and I would hope so, given how much money they have. Now that you mention it, way too many burger restaurants have those chairs. Way too many, like all of them do. At least where I live, like, you know, they always have that. They have the stone floors. They might have like the wood panel walls, with the Edison bulbs draping down from the ceiling, usually on like single wires, and yeah, some like sign that's made to look aged, with the name of the restaurant on it, and the menus are always really shitty and tore up and everything. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the hipster indie restaurants kind of thing. Someone who like, you know, probably got money from their finance dad or something to set it up. But Dad, I really like burgers. Restaurants can be a sensory hell. Yeah, because these are also places that like play the music way too loud. And I used to leave leave reviews on Google pretty often when it came to these restaurants, and every single one that I went to that would have the loud music, I was sure to mention it on there. I'd say like, music was too loud, I couldn't talk to my friends. Because, yeah, it's just like, you're just supposed to sit there and eat and not talk. Hate the high stools. Yeah, the stools. Cannot stand those. Yeah, there you go. There's your toasted. You can sit on the stool, get some nice toasted buns. Those chairs look like back pain to me. They are back pain. Like, that's probably the worst thing about them. Cheap-ass lumbar support. In my experience, Five Guys gives too many fries. I mean, it's good to have a decent amount. At least you're getting your money's worth there. But, yeah. I don't know. I don't mind having too many fries. You can always just put them in the fridge. If you have an air fryers are really good at reheating fries. Yeah. Like, especially if you have one with a reheat function. Like, if you have an air fryer, just put them back into the air fryer for about 5, maybe 4 minutes with the air fry function, at about 375 Fahrenheit. It'll do an incredible job of reheating those fries. And like I said, some air fryers actually have a reheat function, which works extremely well. That works so well for fries, pizza, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you'll never want to use the microwave again with reheating stuff. Cat spotted, yes. You just walk by. I hate it when you have to use a QR code menu. That can be annoying. I remember one place I went to like kept giving me a dead link for something. So like, what do I do here? And I had to go to another table to get a QR code from it, because apparently this one just like was, I don't know, scratched or something like that. It is sort of a remnant of the pandemic, yeah. The earlier days of it, I guess. Tell you what, before I wrap up, let's give Camu some camera time. Get the app loaded up. One second. There we go. Let's give him his close-up. I was gonna show him, because usually before he goes to sleep in his bed, he usually just like kneads the side of the bed, and it's very adorable. Which apparently, oh wait, he's doing it now. 1 second. Hopefully he doesn't get put off. 1 moment. There we go. Got him. Yeah, apparently cats do. Well, I think people have theorized that cats do that because it reminds them of when they used to suckle on their mothers. And what cats would do is that, like, they would push against their stomach to stimulate the milk ducts. You know, it's just like a instinctual thing that they would do. And them doing that now is sort of like leftover from that one. Adorable though. Welcome back, Dio. I'm about to finish up, sadly. How are you doing? Yes, making biscuits. I'd never heard that term until I moved to America, but it makes sense since biscuits, or at least American biscuits, aren't really a thing in the UK. It's an interesting inversion because in the UK, if you say biscuits, people think that you mean cookies. If you say biscuits in the US, they ask you what the hell is a biscuit. I've been asked so many times, like, so what's a biscuit in the UK? And so it's basically a cookie. Well, what do you call cookies? Biscuits. So the only cookies that we have in the UK are like chocolate chip ones. That's a cookie to us, but everything else is just a biscuit. I don't get it. Okay. You can leave. Work, work, work. Can't wait for 5. But what's up? You're in... Oh, you're same time zone as me, I believe, so you got 20 minutes. Not too bad. Someone who went to a British school, I can confirm. Oh, really? I didn't know you went to a British school. Yeah, I got weirdly confused about it. We do love our biscuits in the UK. Cookie biscuits, that is. But I think also American biscuits will be popular over there. I think I made some once when I was over there, so my parents could try them out. Although I don't think I did a very good job of it. That was before I got into baking proper. But anyway, I'm quite hungry, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I think next week we might give Jackbox a try. I'll let people know in advance, you know, just figure out what we would play. And I would also probably want to do a baking stream fairly soon, where I'm thinking of making millionaire shortbread, which I will quickly show an illustration of. Yeah. This right here, millionaire shortbread. It's a layer of shortbread, caramel in the middle, and this one's got a chocolate ganache on the top of it. It's really wonderful. One of my all-time favorites. One of my mother's favorites as well. Yeah, it is delightful. I might make a version without the ganache, one that has like a layer of like actual just solid chocolate on it, but we'll see. But yeah, it is one of my favorites. A lot of nostalgia attached to that. But yeah, thank you very much for showing up, everyone. It's good to be back, even though it was only a brief break. Play the music. But yeah, I'll let you know what's coming up soon. I already have something in the pipeline for the next video. I will tell you what that is once it starts formulating and becomes more solid of an idea. But it was nice having you all here. I always enjoy having you all present and being able to talk with you as well. Watch out for next week. I'll let you know what's going to happen. In the meantime, take care. If you haven't yet, watch the new video. If you open up the channel page, you'll see it there. And also, don't forget you can join the Discord too, which you should see a link for. There we go. But yeah, outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever's left of it. Nice to see you again. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. See you later.